Hello, I'm excited to go ahead and talk about this diversity conference assignment. I found the videos to be very informative, and I also really enjoyed the overall messages that were portrayed in these. So first of all, question number 1 asks what I personally learned about diversity and inclusion through these videos. I think that there were different themes or different things that I learned from each one. But the personal thing that I learned the most from these is that inclusion doesn't always just come from access. I know that was in the very first video that I watched, that we looked at, but I thought that was very powerful and very important to recognize, because I think sometimes as a human, like my human nature is to reach out to people and invite them and try to help them feel a part of the group. But that doesn't always mean that they're going to feel included or accepted. And so that's probably the video that I appreciated the most. I feel like Anthony did an excellent job of expressing how we move from simply access to inclusion and how we help those people. I think one of the things that he said that I loved the most is he said, it's our job to look beyond acceptance and move towards inclusion for everyone. So as far as how I can be more inclusive at work or at school, one of the things that I thought about is that I work in a work environment where most individuals come from a specific religious environment and belief system. There are 2 people that work with us who understand that religion as they were born into it, but they are no longer practicing that religion. And so I don't feel like it's something that we force upon them or put upon them at all, but I do think that there would be ways in which I can be more inclusive by honestly probably asking them to explain a little bit more to me if they're comfortable about what they would like the workplace to be, what they believe, just try to give them more opportunities for them to feel comfortable expressing who they are. And I feel like that's something that our bosses really tried to allow them to do, but I feel like on my end, I could do a better job with that. So that's one step that I want to take, is to make sure that I am still holding true to my standards and my beliefs without making somebody else feel like I'm pressuring them or putting that upon them. And I hope that I haven't been doing that, but I'm going to work on being much more aware and trying to be better about that. As far as summaries on each video goes, the first one I talked about a little bit from Anthony. He explains moving from a very poor community and coming to university where he kind of talked about how there were some hidden agendas, hidden curriculums, and he also used food insecurities as his other example of expressing that these students who come from poor backgrounds, they enter their school and from the very beginning, they don't fit in. They might have gained access to the doors to become a member of that school and that community, but that does not mean that they fit in. And it's our job to do what we can to help them. The other one that we talked about was How to Go Beyond Diversity and Inclusion by Eula Green. She talked about being born in Sierra Leone. Her father moved their family to Oklahoma. And her experience kind of, she talked about first being in school with her and her sister, and people were making fun of their names, and her trying to become the fixer is what she called herself. She was the person who stopped bullies and tried to help people feel included. But she quickly learned as she went through her life that there were a lot of ways in which she gained access. I'm tying back into the other one where she was a part of the organization, but she didn't really feel like she was really there. A time when she walked through the hallways at school, and there were some pictures of pretty much all white males, Caucasian males, I should say. In some of the images, she didn't explain why they were, but she said they were not only old and not that time, she couldn't relate to them to that time period, but also they were offensive. One thing that she said that I loved is that focusing on learning somebody's name can be a very influential thing. So that's something that I want to improve on. And then the last one was from Alex Dang, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He did a really, really powerful poetry slam, where he talked about how his race, he's Asian, and how his race is often confused with, like, people say he's Chinese, he's Vietnamese, he's Asian, all these different things, and that causes him to feel like he doesn't know who he is. It changes his personal identity. And so, one of the things that he talked about that really hit me was how when we mess up an individual's race like that, it forces them to assimilate into an America that was supposed to be free, when in reality it's no better than where these people have come from, the struggles that they've had in their own war-torn countries. And so I thought overall all of them were great. I learned a lot, and I really appreciated this assignment, and let me know if you have any questions.